Good morning. Beautiful day, January 3rd, Saturday. Got the entire day ahead of me. I got a fresh batch of coffee. It smells like toffee, which is great. And today I'm going to be working on evals, specifically a data collection tool to be able to select data from my application and feed them into the as eval inputs. Now, I'm sure if you're working on a startup or project, you're probably like I was, vibe testing everything, at least when it first starts. When you first start, especially when you're early on, I get it. It makes sense. And I was right there with you. The big glass shattering moment for me was I went to the AI Summit in New York, where you have frontier labs like DeepMind, Anthropic, OpenAI. Every single company was talking about one of two things. And the first one was evals, how they were using evals. Manus, the company that just sold to Facebook for $2 billion, they were talking about evals. Every single talk I attended, 9 out of 10, we're discussing evals, how they do it, how important they are, and how you can't really incrementally improve your code base without them. And like after seeing it, it was just so obvious. It was one of those things that was just like smacked me in the face. Like, of course, this is the case that if you don't have something measuring your performance, how can you confidently improve performance? And I think part of my disdain for evals early on was so for more complicated output evaluation, people tend to use like an LLM as a judge, which is just like a LLM scoring another LLM. So how confident can you be? And there's tricks that they actually presented, and you can kind of see online as well to get around that. One easy one is just have a quorum of LLMs as judges to just grade. And there's obviously software that makes this a lot easier. So I've started using Brain Trust. There's a couple other ones that are open source. I'm not necessarily... the reason I chose Brain Trust, it just had all the integrations really easy to use. And I had worked with it one time prior at a different project. So this is going to be a fun day. I'm excited to get the tool ready and excited to get the evals integrated on some of the core aspects of my application. And yeah, let's get to it. All right. Don't underestimate what you can do with a couple hours of focus time. So my stats are today, in terms of coding in session time, I use an application to track that. I'm at 4 hours and 20 minutes. The amount of lines of code, 13 files changed, 1,717 lines changed, or additions, insertions, 69 deletions. I spend the majority of my time just reviewing code, which I think a lot of people are doing now. But there's like three primary things I'm doing. The first is I'm spending a lot of time in the design phase, and that might be like system design, architecture design, or even UI design. And I do that within like ASCII with an LLM to just give it the ASCII version of some sort of UI. And then on this, it generates it all. There's a review process, and majority of my time is reviewing the code. And then like 75% of that phase is reviewing the test associated with that code. And in there, I'll discover flaws. Sometimes design flaws, but sometimes just things that edge cases that I didn't think about. They're both kind of the same thing, but the design flaws usually are a bigger issue. So it's good to get those out. And I just can't write code without writing tests now. The amount of code that we can generate, or I can generate now with LLMs, is just too much that I don't trust enough of it to not have tests. And that review process through writing tests is actually what helps me make sure I thoroughly understand everything that the LLM wrote. So I finished up the data collection tool. It comes with a lot of different filters for different scenarios to basically create different sort of benchmarks, which is great. There's like 300 lines of code for that, and then 700 lines of test, which all test something different, which is great. So I'm really confident in that code. And time to actually move on to using that to plug into the evaluations. I also set up a UI that allows me to visualize what the LLM's seeing and look at the timeline for the input, which is immensely helpful. Just looking at a JSON file or text file or a markdown file just won't cut it anymore. You can generate code extremely fast with an LLM. Just ask it to make the UI for you, and with some tweaks, you should have some nice UIs to help you develop and find issues in what the LLM's seeing. And a quick side note on that, I briefly mentioned earlier, but before you actually have it design it, I like this like UI design phase I've been doing with the LLMs, to just have it design it or mock it up in ASCII, and then through that I'll like iterate, because it's just really quick. It doesn't have to do any code. It's just, text characters. Once I like it, then I go on to the actual coding design. Anyways, that was a great working session. Again, do not underestimate what you can do with a couple hours of focused work. I always forget, and when you have a free Saturday like this, you can just knock it out of the park. It's always really amazing. Next steps are to actually run these evaluations, actually create the data samples that I could then collect through the tool. So all in all, today was a success. I'm that much closer to having comprehensive evaluations for this feature within the application, and I will see you guys tomorrow.